Hello, most awesome Sims 2 fans, and welcome to the 100 Baby Challenge Tipsy Edition. I'm your host, Tipsy Mommy Shark, and I'm calling this episode our intro edition. As you watch me speed through some of my setup, we're going to talk about this Let's Play. First, if you watched my other video, you might notice that our house looks a little different from the cozy build video I released last week, and you're right. I've had to switch gears on this challenge several times. Now you've got a new house in a brand new neighborhood with a brand new sim. Let me explain. I put my original Tipsy Mommy in Belladonna Cove in our adorable little home. My game is heavily modded, and one of the mods is the more realistic Bills mod. In the first week, she was broke and ready to live on the streets. I had to move her into an apartment while pregnant. She died with her third child of starvation. Luckily, I forgot to hit the filming button. And don't worry, I didn't save anything, but there is luckily no evidence of my horrible, murderous crime. I decided to use some of what I've learned from playing around with this challenge. We're going to start in a large rental home because rentals are not affected by this mod. The bills will be a lot less. I moved us into my Uberville hood. An Uberville, if you don't know, is like a huge mega hood where you get to take all of the hoods from The Sims 2 and mash them into one, so you get to know all the Sims that you used to know and love in one neighborhood. And I thought you guys might like to see all of those Sims. They are older in my Uberville because I tend to play in there. Secondly, I had recorded ahead of time and was going to do like a voiceover, but you don't get to see my real-time reaction to the terror, and I thought it might be more fun to do that. So we've got Tipsy Mommy. Her name is Mommy Shark, and we are going to have Lucian. You may see old Tipsy Mommy running around the neighborhood from time to time because I have tried to film this a few times, and there is even more terror to tell, but let's get Mommy in her house. We are starting here with Mommy out the back, and she is gardening because one of the things that I learned that was most important was we need to make money. I had in the other challenge tried to get her to make money by painting, and that just did not work well for me. You can see the house is already decorated. This is basically like a large rental trailer. Tipsy is originally was a Taurus like me, but in the end, I ended up needing her to be a little bit neater. I'm hoping that works better. And she's more outgoing. I made her a little bit more serious. I'm not sure how that's going to work. This is going to be mostly a voiceover because I had to change up my mic, and then I do not know what I did. Again, I do think this is already cursed because then there was no sound playing in the background. So you are going to get to see an overview of what would technically be the first episode. I will put a link in the description down below for the Sims 200 Baby Challenge rules, which I will be using as guidelines. Of course, I will be adhering to the typical rules. You know, one baby daddy. Once you have them, you can never go back to them. One of the things I am going to do, though, is Tipsy Mommy here will only have as many babies as she can have in a lifetime. She will be using the elixir of life. She can have 2 of those little jugs of the elixir of life, and then that's it. Then she's allowed to get old, and somebody else will have to go on. I'm assuming she will have 10-ish babies in her lifetime, and then somebody else will have to take over. I have no mods to extend the amount of Sims per household, which means we can have 8 Sims per household, and then we will have to move Sims out. I am not worrying about Sim skills. It was so horrible with 3 babies in my house and trying to keep her needs up and then getting her to date and getting her to get pregnant again. I'm telling you, I killed the last Tipsy Mommy. I'm not worrying about that. Once we get some teenagers and they can maybe make some money, then they can go to college or they can move out if we need the space. But that's kind of how we're going to play. This is about survival, not about how many skills we can get. And you'll see what I mean. Another thing that happened, that this is why we're living in a single home instead of an apartment complex. I had moved the other Tipsy Mommy into an apartment complex, and I don't know if you've ever knew this could happen or have had it happen. I had so many dirty diapers and horrible stinky bottles that all of the other people in the apartment would come and bang on the door because my apartment was so horrible and stinky. And poor Tipsy Mommy was so tired, but every time somebody rings on the door, they get out of bed. So she'd be falling asleep on the floor and the kids were screaming. I unlocked the door thinking the neighbors would come in and clean. They don't. They just come in and pick the kids up, and they don't hardly help at all. And I was so worried that they were going to come and take my kids away, but I didn't want to cheat while I was filming because I'm thinking, I'm going to film and then do a voiceover. I was hoping not to have to do this, that you were going to have real-time video, and then I give the video up anyway, but I just didn't want our children to get taken. That's another thing. Should our children get taken by social services, they still count as children that we had. We don't have to rehab those children. They are still our babies, and they count as children that we have. It's just tough cookies that they got taken. We're just going to keep moving forward. We'll live through the trauma. In this playthrough, Tipsy was lucky enough to meet Elder Daniel Pleasant and Don Lothario, along with John Mole and a few other townies in the neighborhood, and she was able to make friends relatively quickly, although she did fight me a little bit. My last Tipsy Mommy was very sociable. This one, not so much. So we're going to be working with those issues with her. We did get to go on a date with Daniel Pleasant, and that's how I realized the sound was not working, because I was waiting to hear the sound of the jingle when we have a baby. They were woo-hooing in the closet. I heard it when I went to listen for the sound on the playback. There was no sound at all, and I was totally horrified, which is why you're getting this little quickie voiceover now. What's next for Tipsy Mommy? Well, we will be waiting for her to have baby number 1. Please let me know some baby names in the comments down below. It should start with the letter A, and it will be Daniel Pleasant's child. We are going to be romancing Don Lothario as baby daddy or victim number 2. I will be keeping an Excel spreadsheet so we can keep track of who everybody belongs to. I look forward to talking to you all again in the next one. Happy simming, and bye-bye.